Welcome to part one of Evolving the Collective Consciousness, where I will present some ideas for a new earth. Hi, I'm Dr. Christina Samycia, spiritual psychologist, intuitive healing guide, and author. The turbulence of the last few years has left no doubt in our minds that the world is rapidly changing. It is becoming increasingly obvious that the system that we're living in is just not working. Within this presentation, I will address some of the fundamental flaws of the system, how we are psychologically hooked into it, and some ideas for creating a new earth. This presentation is based on my newly released book, Evolving Consciousness. After listening to this presentation, you will leave feeling more hopeful and possibly even inspired about the future. You must know in your soul that something huge is transpiring on the planet. You are likely noticing that more people around you are outraged at the system and the state of the world. I don't think there has ever been a time in recent history where so many people across the planet are waking up to the dysfunctional world that we're living in and demanding that things change. It is highly likely that you're feeling as though you just can't keep participating in the world as you have been. It is also highly unlikely that you don't feel the same, don't like the same things you used to, feel as though time is becoming more and more strange, and that you're questioning everything: your job, your career, your relationships, and other life choices. What is happening is that we are experiencing a collective awakening that's sparking a massive evolution in consciousness. Although the world appears more dysfunctional than ever and that it's falling apart, we are really experiencing a global transformation. Because a crisis always precipitates evolution, the old world must fall apart to create a better one. We are currently experiencing the crumbling phase. The reality is there is no one coming to save us. It is up to us to transform this matrix. And because this matrix is held together by a set of collective beliefs, we can all do our part by examining and changing our belief systems. We have the power to transform the matrix, and it's time for us to step into it. In the last few decades, many have embarked on a journey of self-exploration, which is evidenced by the increase in interest in psychology, spirituality, and metaphysics. This exploration includes examining subconscious dynamics and all that we swept under the subconscious rug, understanding and changing inaccurate belief systems, healing our wounds from our life experiences, recognizing and eliminating our cognitive distortions regarding our family dynamics, interpersonal relationships, and social structures, and ultimately changing how we think and navigate the world. Through this evolution in consciousness, we are realizing that we are no longer the victims of our circumstances, but the co-creators of our reality. Because of our interpersonal work, we are beginning to feel more empowered, which is leading us to embrace our sovereignty, take responsibility over our lives, and do what is best for all of humanity, not just a few. As a collective, we are moving up the pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy and making decisions based on self-actualization, not merely survival instincts, which is leading us to make wiser choices. Because of this evolution, we are also moving beyond just accepting what is and aspiring to something greater. This is leading us to scrutinize the systems that we're living in, such as government, work environments, commerce, and other social constructs. Let's examine the foundation of our current systems. For the last few thousands of years, we created hierarchical systems to provide structure and guidance for our lives. This resulted in the creation of most religions, political ideologies, and the world as we know it. This period was dominated by hierarchy and power because we mistakenly believed that we needed something or someone to believe in. As we evolve, we are now realizing that these systems are just not working, and that there are inherent flaws in these models, which I will address later on. However, as the collective evolves, so must the systems that we live in. This is why our systems appear to be crumbling, because they are held together by dysfunctional ideologies and dynamics that many are no longer willing to tolerate. And our collective eyes are opening from our cognitive distortions. In 2020, we had a huge contraction in this birthing process. It is interesting to note that 2020 symbolizes perfect vision. And ever since then, more are waking up to the state of the world. We are seeing with more clarity the collective shadow, as well as the illusions we've been programmed to believe. Because the condition of our planet can be seen as a projection of the collective consciousness, it is illuminating the consequences of our ego-driven life. The world appears dysfunctional as a way of illuminating our inner dysfunction, which has prompted many to question every aspect of our lives and the world we live in. We are also seeing that the systems we are living in are becoming increasingly more corrupt and are no longer serving us. Because the darkness is being revealed, it is so easy to get discouraged right now. However, the reason we are seeing so much darkness on the planet is that it needs to be revealed. Not only wake those up who have been asleep, but to make sure we do not repeat the same mistakes we have made for centuries. The dark needs to be brought to light to be understood, healed, and transmuted. Although it is human nature not to want to see the unsavory truths, it is so important for our healing and evolution. Because just like in therapy, if we are to evolve, we need to bring all that we buried from our conscious awareness to the surface. Whether we realize it or not, we have all been traumatized by the narcissistic system that we live in. It is time for us to heal our collective wounds and create new paradigms of living, which will benefit all of humanity, not just a few. It is becoming evident that most of the policies and prevalent societal beliefs of the United States are of a lower vibrational frequency. Within the US, you are likely born into a family who cannot afford for one parent to stay home and take care of you. Most mothers barely receive any paid maternity leave. In other developed nations, mothers receive at least 1 year of paid maternity leave because the collective ideology recognizes that the first 2 years of a child's life is critical. Therefore, in the United States, we start out in the world not feeling supported or valued by the system. As you are developing, you are consuming food that's been tampered with, synthetic, potentially poisoned, and lacks nutritional value. Again, this illustrates that the system is not ensuring that what you are consuming is safe. Then you grow up, go to school, and off to college, where you incur a significant amount of debt. In other developed nations, college is free. Then you get a job where you're exploited by the CEO, who is making millions, but you are struggling to make ends meet. You are also required to work 40 plus hours at a job that you don't love at a fraction of the pay compared to those at the top, to make other people rich and fulfilling other people's dreams, not your own. The motto of most companies is profits over people, and there's a huge pressure to produce and succeed. You have very little time off and are made to feel guilty if you take it, whereas the average European receives 6 weeks minimum of government-mandated paid vacation per year. You are also stressed by the cost of living, which has only been exponentially increasing. The prevalent ideology, especially within the United States, is to work harder, achieve more, consume more, but to what end? It appears many are spending most of their time working to merely survive, not thrive. A large portion of your paycheck is going to healthcare, which is also astronomical compared to other nations where it's actually free. And then you pay approximately 30% of your paycheck to the government, where you are gaslit in believing that in supposedly the richest country, we cannot solve poverty, but we have a huge military fund and are able to send money overseas. These are just a few examples of the policies that one would label as narcissistic.